Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Balanced Business Coach. My name is Toni Robinson, and I am a life coach for leaders. I help individuals and teams find more balance in their life and in their workplace so that they can create a bigger impact on the teams that they serve. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the end of an era. Actually, 2024 is the most end of an era, beginning of an era year that I feel like we have ever had. Or maybe it's just in my side of the universe, but I have seen so many businesses close down. I've seen so many people completely change their life, end relationships, leave jobs, doing all of these big changes that come with an ending, but it's also a new beginning. Even though it is the end of an era for me, the change that is coming with that ending is so beautiful. And today I just kind of wanted to talk about how you embrace the journey, how you allow it to be a good thing that you are reaching the end of an era. That's it. That's it. That's the intro. Let's get into it. So as you can see, I am in my hotel room where my husband and my son and I will be staying for the next week and a half. We've already been here for about a half a week. And it has been such a weird journey of trying to figure out what our plans are, where we're going, when we're going. It has been a roller coaster. And just to kind of give you a brief rundown of the series of events, back in November, I decided I was going to leave my 9 to 5 and start my own business. I did that. At that same time, my husband was waiting on his orders for where we were going to be stationed next. And we were really crossing our fingers that we would get to stay in California where we already were. We actually ended up getting stationed in middle of nowhere, California. But there was this little fine print that said, but actually this little unit here is getting moved to Japan. So you guys are going to Japan. And we were like, no. So my husband decided to get out of the military. And it was just a really weird time for us because it was I was getting out of my job. He was also getting out of the military. And we were like, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? Well, it ended up being that they were able to get him new orders in Washington. When we got selected for those orders, my husband was of a certain rank, right? Before we're getting ready to move out of our house and make the journey to Washington, he finds out that he makes rank, which is it's great news, great news. And we're so excited for him. And I'm so proud of him, and everything that he does for our family is just incredible. But what came with him making rank was them saying that they don't necessarily need his position and his rank at the place that he was assigned to go. So literally the week that we're moving, everything kind of is up in the air of are we still going to Washington? Are we going to stay here now? What's going on? But we had plans to go back to our hometown for the summer. So that is still in motion at this point. And we found out that he is going to be in Washington. It's just the command that he's going to be at is up in the air. The point of all of this is to say that I've experienced so many endings recently. I experienced the ending of my 9 to 5 that I was at for 7.5 years. I have experienced the ending of our time here in California and just kind of grieving that. Last night was my son's last Taekwondo class. And so that was an end of the era at that Taekwondo studio with those instructors. And that was super emotional. I think that was the first time that it kind of hit my son, oh, we're not going to see these people anymore. And he got really emotional for the first time. Another end of the era was leaving our apartment. that we've been in for 3+ years. That was a hard one. It's been interesting because since starting my own business, I do go to Starbucks a lot just to work. I just like to be around other people and in an environment where like other people are working on things, and it just helps me focus. And I've come to know the people who frequent that Starbucks, not even like know them because I talk to them, but I see them all the time. It's like the same people are there every single day, week in, week out. It's these same locals that frequent this Starbucks. And I was just thinking, like, I'm probably never going to see these people again in my life. And I'm never going to go to this Starbucks again in my life. I mean, maybe, right? But it just is this ending of a routine of a community that I have been part of that is now coming to the end. So I kind of wanted to just talk to you guys about how I've been dealing with all of this, whether it was the stress of like not knowing where we were going or thinking we're going to be living in another country, or, oh my gosh, now like things are changing again and we're not going to be where we thought we were going to be. Should we still make this move? All of these things being up in the air, and then also ending my time at my previous job, ending our time at our apartment, ending all of these lovely things that have come into our life and been such blessings to us. How do you deal with the endings of that and see it as a good thing and allow yourself to just embrace the journey? So number one is I always, always, always journal, especially during times of transition. I think it is so important to be allowing yourself to get out your thoughts, your feelings, like even your memories, just writing them down. I go through phases where sometimes I will journal by voice noting myself. So I'll just talk on my voice notes and like say how I'm feeling. But I find that I like to have the written word of how I'm feeling during times of transition and endings, because it's something you can look back on. It's something that you can always go back to a certain journal. Like I've got my journal here, this one, and I feel like it just captures a specific time period and you can see like everything that you've been going through. This journal I started right after my birthday when I turned 30 in October of last year. So I've been using this for about 6 months. I'm almost through the entire journal, but I just feel like this is going to capture a moment in time because this was the time period when I actually resigned from the position. I resigned 2 days before my birthday. And my boss at the time, he had asked me to like think about it just a little bit longer and, you know, give him some time to come up with like a better offer. And it was literally right when I had resigned is when I started this. And so seeing that this was kind of the start of the endings, and then by the time I get through this will probably be once I get to Indiana where we're going to be living this summer. It's really kind of a beautiful representation of this chapter of my life. So I'm really excited to have that to be able to reflect on, but it just creates this little screenshot of what you were going through, what you were thinking, how you were feeling. And then one of the things that my son's therapist actually told us to do was to sit in one of the rooms of our apartment that really was important to us. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a room, but it was our patio. I spent so much time there. I really feel like I grew a lot on that patio doing 75 hard. I don't know if any of you were with me when I did the 75 hard challenge. I'm actually doing it again, but I'm doing the soft version. But when I did 75 hard, I was on that patio constantly doing yoga, journaling, drinking my water, doing all of the things. Like I spent so much time out there. And it was such a huge growth period. I used to take my meetings out there and I meditate out there every single morning. I would meditate out there at night, and we did like full moon rituals out there and let our crystals soak out there, and grew plants out there and grew my first tomatoes out there. There was so much that like happened out there on that porch for me. that symbolized growth. And so I sat out there and I just kind of meditated for a bit and thought back on my favorite memories in our house that we had, in just the community as a whole during our time here in California, like my favorite memories of being here. That was a really lovely exercise as well. So all of this to say, number one thing I would do if you're going through a transition and entering like the end of an era, make sure that you are journaling or somehow documenting that ending process and getting out your feelings, making sure you're processing those things and just documenting it so that you can always look back and remember where you were, what you were going through, and how far you've come. This coffee is so good. I actually brought my own creamer to the hotel, and they have hot coffee served all day long. Mix the two together and so good. So anyway, the second thing that I would tell you to do when you're in a transition phase or coming to the end of an era is to make sure that you are taking time to nourish your body, to care for your mind and your physical and your soul. I did a podcast episode a couple weeks ago on the morning routine. And having a morning routine through this entire journey has been so key for me. I can tell that if I skip a day of doing my morning routine, that everything is awry. I would just highly, highly recommend, even if it's not a morning routine, doing something for yourself daily that gives you a form of self-care, of nourishment for your body. I think that in transition periods, we can really lose our focus. By default, it creates a lack of routine because there's change happening and things are different. You have to kind of go with the flow and just do what comes up on a daily basis. But it is so important for you to take time. And I think in the morning, it's the easiest time to like get it in because you can just do it before the day starts and then whatever comes. But having something to ground you into your own self and make sure that you are checking in with how you're doing and that you're taking care of your mind, body, and soul is going to be really, really important, because during these times of transitions, we can forget to take care of ourselves, and that's what's going to get us operating out of a space that is maybe a lower vibration if we want to talk about the metaphysical side of this. But if you're going through a transition phase, it can be really easy to fall into this trap of negativity. I had so many people who love me and who want the best for me truly project their own fears or concerns or anxieties onto me because of how they feel like they would be reacting in this transition phase if they were going through it. When my husband kept getting his orders changed, or when I left my 9 to 5 and wasn't really sure like how we were going to be, getting money in and all of that stuff. There were people who would say to me, like, I don't know how you're doing this. I would be so stressed. I don't know how you're staying afloat. And it's because I did not go a single day, and you can quote me on that. I did not go a single day without doing something to take care of myself, to nourish my mind, to nourish my body, to nourish my soul, to make sure that I was truly operating from the highest version of me that I possibly could. And if I was having a day where I'm super anxious or super sad, angry, nervous, I made sure that that was a day that I took extra care of myself, and I didn't make any hasty decisions. I didn't do anything that was going to get me in a situation where I regretted acting out of that place. I would allow myself to feel that feeling. I would acknowledge why I felt that feeling, and I would try to just process myself through it, walk myself through it, and give myself that space to release it. And then once it was released, I let it go. And then I was able to make decisions and have a mentality from a really positive place. So make sure that you are absolutely taking care of your mindset, your body, your soul, during this time period. And then the last thing that I would say to do during a transition or end of an era phase to make sure that you are embracing the journey and allowing all of the good to come to you is to practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude is so important to do at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, throughout your day. It is such a powerful practice because of the way that it impacts your mentality. It impacts your mindset. And then how you think impacts how you feel. It impacts how you show up. It impacts how you make decisions. And practicing gratitude is such a beautiful way for you to shift your mindset quickly. You can either journal things down, you can voice note it, you can just say it out loud to yourself. If you are someone who prays, like it could be just praying and thanking God for everything that you are thankful for. But I would really encourage you to make it something where you're not just saying like general, I'm thankful for my health, I'm thankful for my home, I'm thankful for our food. Like get a little bit more specific. What specifically are you grateful for today? Are you grateful that you woke up with fresh coffee, this hotel room that allows you to continue to record your podcast, make new content, and inspires you to do something different that is maybe going to propel you into your next level? Get specific about how grateful you are for the situation that you're in currently. One of the things I wrote in my journal this morning, actually, I'll read it to you. It's getting more real as the days go by that we will be leaving very soon, and it's starting to hit the emotions, that is. I feel only gratitude that leaving this place is causing us such sadness because it means that we truly enjoyed life here. That is what gratitude will do for you. Even through the sadness, the disappointment, I'm going to miss you guys so much, I'm going to miss this place so much, feeling that level of sadness should incite immediate gratitude of like, thank you that I was able to make these connections. Thank you that I was given 3 incredible years in such a magical place, like a unicorn of the universe has truly been given to us. Thank you that you have exposed me to what good friendships look like. Thank you that you have exposed me to what I want my future home to be like, because we won't always be a military family. When we get out, we know exactly what we want out of a community, out of a home, out of friendships, out of the place that we live in, what kind of things we want to be able to do that are close by. All of that I am so grateful for being exposed to. And it's through the gratitude practice that you start to become aware of the fact that like the end of an era isn't meant to harm you, or it's not meant to come against you. It's meant to take you to the next phase of your life. And everything that you have gone through, good or bad, has been taking you to this very moment. And there's so much to be grateful for in that. Because if you just went through something bad and now that's the end of the era of that, and you're moving on to the next, there is something in that that was a blessing in disguise, or maybe it was very clear, but you learned something, you grew, you got a deeper wisdom of something, or maybe it gave you this new opportunity for something else. Like there was some sort of blessing that you can be grateful for in every experience in your life, good or bad. And it's all about how you look at it. And the thing that gratitude does is it helps you look at it from a positive outlook. And that is really going to help you build resilience and that positive mindset during this transformation so that you don't get stuck in the sadness and the negativity. Because you could dwell on that stuff, right? Like you could dwell on the fact that you're so sad that you're never going to see these people again. Or you could be so sad that this relationship didn't work out, or this job didn't work out, or whatever it is. You could be stuck in that sadness. But what is that going to do for you? Where is that going to take you? The gratitude, the positivity, the love, the happiness, the joy, that is going to take you so much further than if you just like dwell in the bad stuff. So those are my reflections that I have today. I have a goal. I have a goal to get to 75 podcast episodes by the end of the year. And what that means is that I want to do a few extra episodes every month that are going to be a little bit on the shorter side. So they might just be like a couple minutes here and there, but kind of just like a boost of energy, excitement for the week, for whatever it is. I just kind of want to have maybe these like little episodes. I did actually do a bonus episode a couple weeks ago that was a meditation. So maybe I'll do more of those. Let me know if you liked that meditation. Just kind of give me your feedback. Like if you were to get, a 2 to 5 minute little burst of like Toni, what would you want that to look like? Let me know in the comments, DM me, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you would want that to look like because I'm going to start doing that. I believe next week is going to be the first bonus episode that I will be doing. So that will be us starting to work towards our goal of 75 podcast episodes by the end of the year. That would be such a dope accomplishment for me. I originally had set it at 50 episodes, but I kind of want to stretch myself. I have really grown to love creating this podcast so much, and I'm learning so much about how to format it, how to market it, how to get people more involved with it. And I just want to thank every single one of you who has been listening to this podcast, whether it's one episode, if this is your first episode, if you've been rocking with me every single week from the very beginning. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I started this as like I had something that I wanted to talk about on a video and I was recording it on my phone. I wanted to put it out on Instagram as this, like, I just had something to say, but it ended up being like a 20-minute video. And I was like, holy crap, like, I'm not going to put that on Instagram. Nobody's going to watch it. It's not going to get any airtime, but this is important to me. I was like, what if I put it out as a podcast? And I'm like, well, if I put it out as a podcast, this is literally the thoughts I had in my head. If I put it out as a podcast, then like I have to keep going. I can't just do one podcast episode. Well, what if we do a podcast? Like that would be kind of cool. What else could we talk about on the podcast? Well, we could talk about this. We could talk about that. I've been kind of playing around with the idea of podcasts for a while. And then it was just birthed to like, I just created the podcast that afternoon. I posted it and the rest is history. Now we are 20. This is going to be episode 24. So we're just almost halfway to that 50 mark. And we're about halfway through the year. So 50 episodes would be consistent, right? Like I would be consistent in what I have been doing, but there's something in me that really wants to push myself with this podcast just a little bit. I want to do something different with it. I want to see how the smaller little burst of Toni. I don't know why that's coming to mind. Here's this little burst of Toni to kind of check on you, give you that mood boost, whatever it ends up being, along with these more educational, deeper episodes. So that is to come. Please let me know in the comments what you guys would want. But yeah, thanks everyone for being along on this journey. It has truly been such an incredible 6 months so far of leaving the 9 to 5 and launching this business and just seeing where it's taking me right now. And there will be more to share on that very soon. So stay tuned. I have some news that I will want to share. In the meantime, I'm wishing you all so much wellness, so much happiness, so much love and joy and balance. And until next time, take care.